Hello everyone, welcome back to 30 Art Circle. The squad for the Pakistan's Test series with England is announced finally because there was a lot of chatter about how it's not being announced, how the venues are not being announced. It's all chaotic and the all important Champions Cup was going on, so all the attention was there. But finally, the Pakistan squad is announced, and all the players will be resting till the series, which is a good step. So, Aram, how are you doing? First of all.
Yeah, I'm good, Emad. It's good to be back. Yeah, just talking about initially how we've seen they have decided, and I think Jason Gillespie, he has a big role. That he said that we'll rest the players for the remainder of the Pakistan Cup. Although it has other matches bache nahi hai, but still, as far as the team is concerned, they are trying people get together towards the camp before the test matches, and I think it's a good step. But uske baad, after that horrendous series we had against Bangladesh, I think the hopes to nahi kahenge, but I think expectations are at an all-time low. But you can never expect anything from Pakistan cricket. As I've always said, expect the least, and then be happy on any other result you get out of Pakistan cricket.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That is my approach to life too, honestly. But moving on, let's just begin with the squad. So obviously, Shan Masood retains his captaincy. A lot of eyes on him, I think, because he was under a lot of scrutiny after what happened against Bangladesh. He's not scoring. I mean, the guy doesn't score runs. If we look at the past 2 years or so, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've been a huge supporter of Shan Masood for quite a lot of time. But I think recent years, mein, even for the last 2 years, we saw that he did well in county cricket and all. But he's somewhat not being able to replicate his approach, I would say, in terms of runs. I mean, he's not able to score those bulk of runs that you expect a top order batter to do in this format of the game. You look at the number threes around the world. Uh, you see people who are doing splendidly well. I feel that number three is almost the most crucial position in your batting lineup, because you see that it comes just after the opener. So if you lose quick wickets, your number three is there to save the day for you. But I still feel that Shan has not been able to live up to the expectations. Although he's at the stage of his career where you could say that we expect a lot out of him, especially when you're the captain of the national side, at the national test side. But I feel he's not. He has tried to introduce some new things within the team. We feel his mantra for batting as well is not that bad, but somewhat he's not being able to induce it in terms of scoring the heaps of runs and all. So I feel कि उसकी वजह से भी there has been a significant impact negatively on the entire team's performance, because when your captain is not doing good, which is his prime job, he's a batter first. So I think when he's not doing good there, so it reflects all onto the team, and you see for the past series as well. I felt कि Australia में we gave him leeway because obviously Australian tours are the toughest for any Pakistani batters. Although he's good on the short balls, that's debate for another day. But right now, we said that home series, although the conditions were not easy, but we expected a lot out of him, and he is rightfully under a lot of scrutiny right now, because वो जो वही वाली बात है कि he's a good captain, he's a great captain. वो वाली जो leverage है, how long will he able to be persisting with it without actually giving performance with his primary job, which is to bat out at number three. So I think this is a very crucial series for him. It was a good decision to retain him as captain, not make any uh, decisions very harshly. I feel we need a bit of calmness within the circuit right now rather than making these decisions, on the go. So ये एक अच्छी चीज थी, but I really feel, and I agree with everyone else who's criticizing him right now, that Shan needs to do a lot more than he's been doing right now, and yeah, that will eventually have an impact on the entire team's performance as well.
Yeah, so obviously changes in the middle of the season are always horrible. So obviously it always made sense that he remains the captain. Uh, will you said he's a good captain. We didn't see all that in the series against Bangladesh, but can he match the captaincy credentials with Stokes? Can he do something which uh, which makes him shine through in that series? Because Ben Stokes is going to go crazy with his tactics.
Yeah, we saw that, especially if you remember the 20 test in the when England toured last. So was flat deck pay. He managed to do things. He was so creative with his field placements, the way he juggled between his pacers and all. How he used his spinners as well was something very easy on the eye to watch. You were enjoying the game even though we were on the receiving end, but we enjoyed it as a game of cricket. So I think you're absolutely right in saying that Shan did not do that well in the series against Bangladesh, or we could have had different results. But I think we had been coming in from a series of test captains who, or you could say a captain who was not that good, that whoever replaced him, which was Shan Masood in this case, even if he was slightly better, we felt that it was a big change. It is a breath of fresh air. I still believe he has the acumen to do pretty well over here. He understands the game. He analyzes the game in a different way, and he had. We saw it in the Australian series. There are some glimpses of him doing, getting creative with the field placements, especially when your fast bowlers were bowling. So I feel that that comes with a bit of confidence. When the captain is riding on confidence, he instills it into the team as well by his field placements, whatever he talks about to his bowlers and all. So I feel that he'll have to come out of that shell, and a lot has to be done with his batting as well. If he bats well, he'll get that confidence, and that will transfer eventually into his captaincy as well. I think that he can do good, but you cannot say anything. Now you cannot predict anything about Pakistan and its performance. We predicted a 3-0 win for us, but if you remember in the earlier season, not 3-0 win, we said that we'll go all out and maybe have a drawn test or so, but we eventually managed to build it up so badly for ourselves.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you raised about a captain being able to sort of open his arms if they are riding on confidence. But I think we've got to be quick because we have a lot of other aspects to analyze. So let's just go with the all important bowling attack. We obviously have Shaheen, Naseem, and Aamir Jamal. I think these three are the top three fast bowlers in this country for Test cricket. Probably Khurram Shahzad and Aamir Jamal tie on that third spot. There's Mir Hamza as well. So, what's the combination that you see that they should be playing? I think for me it has to be Shaheen and Naseem. I mean, Shaheen is off color. Shaheen is very so right now, but you always play your best bowler, and he is your best bowler. Mir Hamza has done really well, but I just think Shaheen has to be there. The pitches need to be good though, and the
Yeah,
third bowler has to be Jamal. Yeah, please.
yeah, I agree. I think a lot depends on the surface and how it plays out, because we cannot say anything earlier on, and eventually, if they manage to get flight decks and also सारी बातें फालतू रह जाएंगी. We it'll all come down onto the surface at the end. I think different combinations can be tried. They have left out a bit of room by having two spin options as well. You have Noman Ali and Abrar Ahmed there. So I think when we're looking at fast bowling, we'll have to look at it at on a whole with the entire bowling attack. Specifically for the fast bowlers, I agree with the top three listings that you have done. I feel that Shaheen's performance may displace him towards the end of that list, but I still feel that you play your best bowler. I agree with you. No matter how bad he is on form, you know that on his given day, if he somehow manages to get that spark in, he can win you the game on his own. So you have Shaheen Naseem, and I think Khurram is injured, so we have Amir
Yeah,
Jamal in
Khurram
for
is
him.
good.
Yeah, and Muhammad Ali has been dropped. I do not know if he's injured or not, but I think he's been dropped. So they have replaced him, and the all important, the most senior most player of this Pakistan squad, our very favorite Mr. Noman Ali from Hyderabad, makes his way in. I'm just amazed. I think we should talk about it more about Noman getting into the squad. I'm just
Yeah,
amazed.
that was
Huh. We saw Mehran and the youngsters making
exactly.
inroads, and we were expecting that you will have them into the squad, even if you don't play them. Obviously, Abrar will play, and you have Salman Ali Agha to give you another spin option. But unless you make a ranked runner, so that's another case. But Noman Ali, I do not know if I'm unaware of his recent performances within the list A, or you could say the first class season, whether he's done something splendidly well that they've chosen him. I think that thoda sa fear has taken over them, that they've एक तरह से gone back to experience. I do not know कि क्या scene हुआ है ये, because I've always felt कि his time was up when he was being relieved of the duties of serving Pakistan spin bowling lineup. What do you have to say?
Yeah, exactly. I think you were right. Everyone thought that time's up for Noman Ali because he didn't perform that Yasir Shah, at Yasir Shah levels, and Abrar was doing so good for in Test cricket for Pakistan. The series against England, the series against New Zealand, the series against Sri Lanka, he was phenomenal. And so I think if you want to have a second spinner as a backup, you need to have someone who's young so that they can learn as well. But at the same time, the people argue that you can't just carry young people around and not play them. So there are two sides to the argument. But अगर हमें दो spinners खिलाने हुए किसी मुल्तान में, I still would have liked Abrar and some young guy to play, probably Mehran uh, Mehran, and who's the other option? I think Arafat, right? No, we can't play Arafat in this cricket.
Yeah, we had, I think, the option of having an all-rounder in the form of Mubasir. I think एक वो option भी
Mubasir,
था.
yes. I was forgetting his name. I forgot his name.
हाँ, so I think ये इन दोनों में से ही option थे. If I'm missing out on anyone else, so whom I do not remember. But I think Mehran had to make the cut. But खैर, we don't know what they're planning ahead. Right
I
now, we do
mean,
not know what they're doing for.
yeah, Mubasir has been making Pakistan's test side. I think पहले backup के तौर पे as a reserve, not even as someone in the 15, and he's been the player of the series of the best domestic system in Qaid Azam
Yeah,
Trophy. So I think he also makes a good shot.
yeah, I think उसका case ये है कि because he is more of an all-rounder sort of a player rather than being your first spin option. So I think that is something where he gets into competition with Salman Ali Agha, and eventually Agha does well to
Mm.
get his name into the side due to his batting. But I do not, people will call this an a controversial take or so. But I feel that if he comes into your side, he may be adding more value than a proper frontline spinner if you play him alongside Abrar. Rather than having Noman and Abrar play, I wouldn't mind playing a youngster like him or Mehran in with Abrar, and you would have the luxury of having three spin options, with one of them being a frontline spinner and two being proper batters who can bowl decently. So I think it's all about the team combinations. So we're not equating, the bowling performances of or the potential of Noman with someone like Mubasir, but we feel that he can do the job, and the most important thing that is that he has age on his side, and there's Pakistan वैसे ही बहुत कम games खेलता है. The our test cycle and everything is pretty much done for the couple of years. So maybe we managed to get in a phase where we're playing some consecutive test games, and we have a decent amount of games for the year. So maybe if we're not trying and just going back to people who we left out earlier, so I think it's a bit harsh on the players as well.
So I think the bowling attack is essentially done. Right, I think we have completely discussed it. I think, but it's the batting which also sort of let us down in the Bangladesh Test series. So we're starting with the elephant in the room. Is Babar Azam making the comeback in the Test series?
Yeah, we had the same conversation when we were discussing previewing
Yeah.
the games against Bangladesh, and I said, okay, you don't leave Babar Azam out of any side, especially any test side. The We talk about players having that high ceiling, but unfortunately, the way he's been doing it, it just sort of appears that he's stuck in between a thunderstorm or sort of anything where he can't just get out of it. We heard those things about the technical flaws and how he managed to improve it within this
Yeah.
Champions Cup where we saw he made a century and people said that he's improving on it. They have seen visible change in his the way he stands, the toe wali baat jo thi. We saw Jared
Yeah.
Kimber talk about it, and I feel that the most important thing we have discussed it in the previous podcast as well when we're talking about the overall cricketing culture of Pakistan. We said that if a player stops, introspecting himself and constantly trying to evolve as a player, that is the and not focus on his fitness. That is the point where that player stops and comes to a halt. He just gets stuck in n number of things and issues and not gets able to out.
Yeah, right. That makes perfect sense, and we're probably going to say the same thing. A good Babar Azam innings is always right on the corner, but we're going to say that less passionately now, if that makes sense. But moving on, talking about the openers, I think Saim did really well against Bangladesh. So we have to persist with him, and obviously Abdullah is Abdullah. He is going to open.
Yeah, but similarly, we talk about Abdullah as well. Although he's quite young in his career, but I feel he's also stuck in a bit of a bad patch at this moment. We have seen glimpses of him doing well in certain knocks and then having a good innings here or there. But although he's young, and I wouldn't say that you drop him out. But when you have a person like Hurraira sitting behind, there is that constant knock behind your shoulder that you feel every time you go out to bat. That I have someone who's raring to go to replace me, and that is something that's that creates a healthy culture around the team as well. But yeah, I think कि openers यही रहेंगे. We'll have Shan at three, Babar at four. उसके बाद तो batting lineup is set. But the important thing is, I feel कि I know you'll talk about it more as well. कि what are we expecting from this batting lineup on the whole? We talked about before the Bangladesh series that we were expecting them कि भाई batting कर लेगी कुछ ना कुछ. But the most important thing we were talking about is what is the method of cricket or the way they'll play. But अब तो ये
Yeah.
बात करना फजूल है because we just saying कि go out and perform, forget about every other thing, forget about baseball and the Pakistan way and Shan ball and everything on. But we just want runs right now. We want to win games. We don't care in the
Hmm.
matter you win or not. But at the end of the day, the result matters. And right now, we're not in a phase that we need to rely on the theatrics. Rather than we need solid results at this moment. Just to boost up the confidence of the entire circuit because everything's in a downward spiral right now.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Bangladesh also showed us that खाली aggression and high run rates के through जो है वो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि you always win. We try to do that. We failed obviously, but Bangladesh का we saw how strategized their batting was. So I think we can probably go for something similar. But we can also argue that maybe at this point in Test cricket, batting at quicker rates is sort of our identity now because this has been happening since like the New Zealand Valley series, the New Zealand Valley series in 2022, and so or 2023 rather. And so बात ये है कि if that is the way we actually play now, we should persist with it, but करना उसे effectively है. We should not force it on us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think if you're following a specific template or a blueprint, you need to follow it till the end. We've given the chance of the entire season to these respective players, and I think we need to give them the entire backing throughout the season, and we'll judge them and see how they do by the end of it. and then talk about, okay, what are the results that we've achieved and what do we feel that, what can we improve on. I think we have given them enough liberty. I wouldn't say that we have given them, but I think they've, sort of created it for themselves. And I feel that, it's fair enough that we judge them at the end. And right now, what we'll say, I think the word we're going to use for now is controlled aggression. We always hear in Pakistan cricket, when anyone new comes within, the administration or within the managing setup, they, the quick word, the quick bug that sells in Pakistan is the word aggression, or as we call it in our desi language, daleri. But I think it's not just about that right now. We're competing against a side who have, it can be argued that they have changed the way that we have seen the recent uh, this era of Test cricket. I think, and the way it has been played. So I think it will not be easy for us to, just go in and play the way we played against Sri Lanka, or for that matter New Zealand. So I think it will be quite difficult to test. I think it will be a test of a lot of people's characters, as well as their, the way they handle pressure. It won't be an easy series to say by any means. So I think a perfect test for us to, just test how was that series against Bangladesh a one-time thing, or the Bangladesh really have improved a lot as a team, and we were just, caught on bad days, or we have serious and grave concerns and issues about our, test structure and test team that we're carrying right now. Because if we are absolutely, smashed around along the park and, beaten very badly, so I think there'll be a lot more questions then if we lose with, some fighting spirit and, closely competed games. So I think वो एक अलग conversation हो जाएगी फिर वो. So yeah, I think overall judge करने का यही तरीका होगा, to look at the way they play rather than, just, taunting them or talk about them before the games.
Yeah, yeah, that actually makes perfect sense. That's a perfect way to probably end this conversation. I think this was more sort of concentrated towards the squad itself, but we're going to be reviewing all the dynamics and all the chaos that has happened pre series. And in our preview for the Test series, we're also going to be discussing the England series, England squad, beg your pardon, in that preview. But yeah, that's about it from 30-yard circle, a bit short today. But yeah, we'll see you for the
You got me.